Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Raphael Duke Page Guide channel. It is I, Raphael Duke, back here once again for another video. And today I'm responding to a tag video that was done, I don't know if, I think it was recorded either last night or today, depending on when ThrashManiac99 did it. But he tagged me in the video where he asked the question, the $1,000,000 question, of what makes a great wrestler. What makes a great professional wrestler. I guess based, off the fact of, basically just your personal opinion and what you think, makes a great wrestler. And towards the end, he seemed like he picked like who he thought maybe was the personification of a great wrestler. So I'm not gonna take too much time into this. I'm gonna get right down into it. What makes a great wrestler? I think the first thing to what makes a great wrestler is, first of all, your in-ring skills, which seems to be something that in this current generation, a lot of the guys, either from like WWE and stuff, the in-ring skills are not really looked at anymore. It's mostly looked like, if you can basically do, moves, well then oh, okay, you're fine. You can do your job. But I feel like, having a particularly refined set of skills, and almost basically having your skills set into a certain category, whether you're a technician, a high flyer, a powerhouse wrestler, a striker, a big man. I feel like some wrestlers nowadays are more always just basic and have like this mixed style, like you'll have heels that'll do high flying, and they'll do some technical moves, and they'll do some powerhouse moves that they're a little bit stronger, a little bit more muscular, and such. But back in the day, even easily going back to when I started watching wrestling in 2008, everyone had their own certain style. Hardy was the high flyer. Cena was the powerhouse, So Batista, same thing, was a powerhouse. So was Triple H. Edge was the dirty wrestler. Orton as well. Sort of stuff like that. Meanwhile, today I feel like the in-ring skills, not. I don't know if in-ring skills may be the best thing to say. Maybe in-ring skills and just overall moves in general, I think play a huge part into it. I feel like a lot of wrestlers today have moves that are just, their finishers are somewhat very, very basic. I know a lot of people complain, like, for example, Bailey. The Bailey to Belly, which was a belly to belly suplex. A lot of people always said, "Oh, it's such a regular move," and like Biggie does it as a regular move. So how should we believe that Bailey can use it as a finisher? Which, arguably, that's a thing that's happened a lot. While back in the day, it feels like when wrestlers had a finisher, it was actually somewhat special. And the only wrestler to still have a finisher that to me feels like really, really special is Orton's RKO. Like that RKO, when he used it back in the day, when he used it, that was it. Today, once in a while, they'll have a wrestler kick out for storyline purposes in the match. But I feel like his finisher is one of the few special ones, Like Roman's spear isn't that great. The curb stomp, the fact that to me it was good at first that they took it out, then they brought it back, and then they do the thing where he stomps his feet, which, even though he's a heel, he still does. Like, there's, to me, if you have a particularly perfect moveset, that's what's really going to help. If you have a finisher that is well protected in the fact that if you do it, if you do it like once, you're able to finish the match once or twice. But if you do it like 5 times and you can't pin anyone with it, well then your finisher ain't shit. Same with having signature moves, signature spots, just even signature strikes. Just how sometimes people strike. I'll give you an example. Becky uses the man. I'm wearing her shirt for this video. I was wearing her shirt in general. Uses the a lot of uppercuts, a lot of the European uppercuts and the flying forearms. That's her way of striking. But some wrestlers are just regular jabs and hooks and all that. Roman has his own little signature strikes. It's all about the details to me. And if I had to pick a wrestler that had that perfect sort of detail in his, like, not only strikes but his moves, would be The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, back in the Attitude Era. Just watching him with the strikes and how he punched, how he basically moved in the ring, and even when he went for the People's Elbow, which was basically just a regular diving elbow, he was able to make it so special. So if someone can have a moveset as great as how The Rock had, which nowadays is really hard to have, that's, I think, one of the perfect parts to have to what makes a perfect wrestler. Number 2 is, of course, one of the important things, the gimmick. The gimmick is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you might be wondering, what do I mean by the gimmick? Gimmick, I mean, basically, who you are, what you do. The man, the Beast Slayer, the boss. Bailey's a gimmick, I guess, is the role model. The lady for, like, Lacey Evans. I'm only saying fucking females and Rollins, the big dog, the Roman Empire, the king, the lone wolf. These people have gimmicks. As long as you have that gimmick, you need to have that gimmick where you can work as both a babyface and a heel when needed. You need that gimmick that can make you go both ways. Becky Lynch, for example, she's a babyface, but she's sometimes so arrogant you can almost take her like she's a heel. Same thing with Roman. The Rock also had that perfectly where, he basically turned heel, but he was still doing the same things, except he's insulted the fans a little bit less. After that, you have, for example, Stone Cold. Well, that's, Stone Cold's gimmick could work as a babyface and a heel. Triple H. People like that. Ric Flair. You need that gimmick that can work both ways. And some nowadays, I give you an example. Sasha Banks. She's the boss. As a babyface, this is not a knock on Sasha, but the boss, to me, is a heel. She's a heel. She's the character's a bitch. She's the heel. That babyface run she had from 2016 to she turned heel in 2019. Almost that 3-year run as a babyface. I feel like a lot of times she could have done a lot better as a heel, which she's doing now. Same thing with Charlotte Flair. They tried turning her face and having her be more relatable to the WWE universe, which I can understand. And that's another thing that's important to me, but I'll get to that in a little bit, is how relatable you are. And Charlotte, no offense to her, I don't relate personally to being the daughter of Ric Flair, to being genetically superior, to being the queen. I don't relate to that. Same as I don't relate to the boss. I relate, for example, to when Bayley was the hugger. She was a she was a fan of WWE, basically working as a superstar. I relate to Becky Lynch, someone that's been overlooked for so long that decided to take a matter into her own hands. I relate to those type of characters. That's something that your gimmick something really needs to be relatable. And I think the one that had the best gimmick back in the day was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, Stone Cold Steve Austin he was the badass. He was the blue collar badass who, didn't take no nonsense, kicked ass, beat the shit out of everyone. He was someone that people could relate to, could look up to, because he was beating up his boss. And let's be honest, who at some point didn't feel like being the crap out of their boss? I know I have, and I know you have as well. So that's why I feel like that's another very important part, is to have a good gimmick. Skills, I mentioned the in-ring skills. Promo skills are also another thing. Promo skills with the new generation, it seems like the people that end up going through the WWE Performance Center, a lot of them got a chance to work with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, which a lot of people credit to being one of the best on the mic. And, he sort of gave and taught his craft to the people that came up through the Performance Center, who women like Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss is arguably one of the best women's mic workers, period, in WWE. And she went up through NXT and learned from Dusty Rhodes. Back in the day, people like Triple H, Edge had that silver thong. Orton can still rock that stick. Of course, the all-famous CM Punk is another one that I feel like he... like you can like someone that can really work the mic well. I sort of lost my train of thought for a second. That is something, and it feels like sometimes some superstars lack the charisma. That's another thing you really need to be a great wrestler is charisma. You need in-ring skills, you need charisma, and you need the gimmick. And the thing is that the gimmick connects to being relatable to connecting with WWE, with fans, with wrestling fans. I say WWE fans because I'm a WWE fan myself, but for wrestling fans in general. And I think that's really the three most important things. I want to go too overboard. It's already 10 minutes long, but having the perfect gimmick where you can work as both a babyface and a heel, where you can get the babyface cheers and the heel heed the boos, having the in-ring skills to be able to showcase good matches, not having just great moves, but be able to tell a story as well in the match as well. To tell a story like if you're a babyface, to tell a story of struggling and fighting back and getting a second win. Same thing as a heel. If you're going to be a heel, you need to tell a story of being able to dominate, being able to cheat if you need to. And having the charisma and the mic skills to be able to tell a story, to tell a promo, to build someone up, to tear someone down, to build hype into you, build hype into a match. That's a lot of things I feel like that would make a perfect wrestler. If I had to take an example from today, for the woman that could, or man that could be considered the perfect stereotype for a wrestler, and I know, a lot of people don't like her, is Charlotte Flair. Great in-ring skills, can tell a great story as a heel. She told decent stories as a babyface. I'm just thinking, me saying Charlotte, and then I criticize Charlotte for not being that good as a babyface. What the fuck is wrong with me? I have to say, if I have to say someone today is the stereotypical best wrestler to me, that what makes the best wrestler is Becky Lynch. And I'm saying this, not of course because I'm a Becky Lynch fan, because I'm saying I've seen her work as a heel, I've seen her work as a face. Her gimmick right now, the man gimmick, is the perfect one because it works both ways. She can be a good heel and dominate in matches. We saw that last year when she was wrestling Charlotte. It was still a baby face. She can be a good baby face. We saw this in matches she had this year. She had arguably 3 of maybe the best matches this year with Sasha Banks and Asuka in the WrestleMania Women's Main Event, which a lot of people are shitting on for some reason now. And she has the relatability, she has the gimmick, and she has the charisma. If I had to pick the all-time best wrestler that fits every category, my favorite of all time was Cena, but I feel like Cena, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with John Cena. I'm gonna go with the controversial pick, because Cena was able to work perfectly as a heel when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics. He transitioned perfectly as a face, and I mean he had the longest maybe the longest babyface run of anyone in wrestling in a while. And his moves were really good. Of course, the AA and the 5-knuckle shuffle, sure, they get boring after a while. They're not as exciting as a spear, I guess, or whatever. But to me, Cena had the moves to have a great match. He had the charisma. He had the gimmick. And Cena's definitely one of them. And, you can also add wrestlers like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, stuff like that. If I had to pick D1, even above Cena, I go with Stone Cold, but I think Cena is also one of the best. So that's my reply video. I'm sorry if it was a little bit of a mess. I just watched Levi's video not even a few minutes ago, and I decided I'd do the reply to it right away. So thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to leave a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to leave your thoughts down below. And what do you think makes the best wrestler to you? Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a very good day.